a very special guest today, Trevor Mhariwa, multi-talented artist, musician, photographer. The list goes on. I'm glad to have you on the show, man.
Man, there's a lot of accolades right there, man. Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
And so how you been, man? Since first and foremost, wanted to say this man got married, so congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. It's been great. It's been the best 2 weeks of my life so far. It's been amazing.
And that's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just to get the people filled in, like, well, I gave you the description of yourself, but like, how would you describe yourself and what you do in your crafts?
Describe myself. Well, I'm just one person who's so passionate about art. So anything that has the tag art in it, man, I'm in. The music, I'm a songwriter. I sing, I can direct music. I play a bit of guitar, acoustic. And just recently, I've just, ventured into filmography, like cinematography. I love film production so much, playing the B-rolls and stuff. So yeah, that's me, man. I'm all about art.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
We have something in the works right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's about to get ready, actually.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. I can't wait for it to come out, man.
So what was your introduction to music?
Well, I remember back then because my mom is quite musical. So she, like growing up in a Christian family, my mom would take me to choir practices with her, and whenever I wouldn't make it, she would make sure that she brings a copy of every song that she would do at practice. So just to teach me, because she knew that I'll be on a case. So basically, that's where it started, and my passion just grew from there. And I never thought that music would bring me this far. Now look, here I am. So this I owe it all to my mom.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you were just primarily singing, or were you messing with any type of instruments, or?
Yeah. So I grew up in the Salvation Army. That's the church that I grew up in. This is the church that's my church. Mm. So in the Salvation Army, like we play like wind instruments. So I played an instrument called the euphonium, and a bit of trombone since I was young. I think I started playing at 15.
Trombone? Hold on now.
So I'm playing at 15. Yeah. So, I really appreciate, what my church did, not just for me, but for all the, the musicians that came out of it, because we got what we got from there was priceless. Like, you get free education, like learning introduction to music, theory-wise to practical. Like everything is just at your disposal. Instruments are there whenever you just want to go and practice. So your growth is just basically dependent on the passion that you have, because everything is just there. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
So, yeah, man.
So it's just like basically it's a church, but is it like almost kind of like a campus ground where there's different buildings, or is it all in one church building?
No, all in one church building. So at my church, we literally have just like one church hall, and then we had like a small office which had like a room that would store the instruments. But basically, whenever we wanted to go and learn something, or just go to the office, take any instrument that you want, get in the church, and start practicing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And like, talk more about like where do you come from, and why was that so important to have that type of like resource available? Okay,
so I come from, like, here in America, there's something like that you'd call like the projects. I come from the ghetto back in Zimbabwe, in Harare. I grew up in a place called Zivara. So we didn't really have a lot going on. So it's either you're engaged in church activities or you're on the streets. either smoking or drinking. So I believe that this musical part of me, it actually played a huge role in saving me from a lot of other things that I would have engaged in at a very young age. So I literally spent most of my time in church, just doing, what I loved. And, whilst other people were out there, doing all sorts of other things. So I believe that it really played a huge role in saving me and, just preparing me to be the person that I am today.
And was that a byproduct of like your passion, or is that also like, or is your mom like, you stay in church?
When you're young, there's so many things out there that are tempting. So you also have peer pressure. You have friends that are going to parties and doing all sorts of other things. So I wouldn't say that it was all a byproduct of my passion, but my mom as well. Like just keeping hammering me on to stay on this path, just to make sure that I don't get lost. So I believe my parents played a huge role as well. And then the passion actually grew. And, the other thing when we're young is, you're young and talented. You want to stand out as well. So you really push hard. You want to get noticed. You want that attention. Those girls, man, when you're young. So, yeah. So it actually pushes you as well to become better. And, I think it was kind of like a byproduct of a lot of things. There's a lot of things in that bag.
Yeah. So you came from that era where, a lot of people don't know now, like the younger like kids, it's like still my generation, but younger. It's like there was a time where if you knew how to sing and dance, like you were the guy.
Bro, it was crazy. I remember we had a group. So we had an acapella group called Solid Praise. So with Solid Praise, these are the guys that taught me how to sing. Like I had it in me, but I didn't know. I just liked the idea of them singing and, seeing how the people would react, how the girls would scream every time they'll sing. So this group was, comprised of my brothers. There was Tafazo, my big brother, and Desire, my cousin. And there was also Ray, my late brother. Unfortunately, he was shot in South Africa. That was about 2 years ago. Yeah, so with that group, we actually how it started. Let me just take you to the beginning. So these guys were three. It was like a trio. It was they had a 3-part harmony. It was soprano, alto, and there was tenor. And there was only one part that was missing. And so guys, this is my wife. There was only one part that was missing, which was bass. And I was so young, to even carry the kind of voice that I had, but I didn't know. So I would bother these guys every time they'll practice, every time they'll saying, hey, I want to join the group. I want to sing too, And how it is with big brothers. They don't want like little brothers following them around all the time. Right. So my brother Tafado was like, man, you got to stay home. You got to stay home. We can do this. You got to play with your own friends, from your own age. And, I kept on pushing these guys. And one day my cousin Desire was like, man, you got to come over to the house and, just test out your voice and see where you'll fit in. Man, I tried all the other parts and it just wouldn't work. He tried giving me soprano because I think I was like 14 at that time, 14 or 15. He tried giving me soprano, it wouldn't work. He tried to give me tenor, alto, it just wouldn't work. So the only part that was left was bass. So he gave me this song. I was like, man, let's just try it, let's just try it.
You got to that point. Were you discouraged at all?
I was like, honestly, I was discouraged because I was young and I never expected, I never would have expected at that time that I had a voice that heavy, because if you hear me speaking, my voice, it doesn't even sound that deep. But when I start singing now, it goes all the way down. So he gave me a song. He gave me a line, actually. I sang that line just once, and he was like shocked. I was also shocked because I didn't know my voice would go that low. So imagine I'm singing with guys who are like 5 years older than me, and I'm the youngest, but I have the heaviest voice. I have the deepest voice. So I joined the group, and it became a quartet. I was the bass. So this is how, you know, my vocal musical journey started as well, and I started developing on my voice, and you know, the rest is history.
So when you guys were doing or coming together, were you guys going around like the city and singing in different places, or?
Oh yeah, so with Solid Praise, actually what we did is we started in church. So we'll sing in church, we'll sing at church conferences, like all the national gatherings, we'll get invited and we'll sing. And we ended up branching out, you know, wanted to explore like the actual music industry in Zimbabwe. And we worked with a lot of people, like some of the greatest musicians in Zimbabwe, and the likes of, you know, I was part of Zim Praise, which is like the largest gospel ensemble in Zimbabwe. And in Zim Praise, I was the...
Skip over that one. Hey, for those who don't know, do your research.
Yeah, so in Zim Praise, I was like the only bass vocalist in Zim Praise. Imagine it was a choir of like 100 plus musicians, and I was the only bass vocalist that they had, and it was quite an amazing and uplifting journey for me. You know, I believe it actually contributed to, you know, where I am now, and the kind of person, the kind of musician that I've become. And yeah, there's a lot of musicians that I work with, and I know a lot of people here may not know them, but some of the greatest musicians in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
Yeah.
So through that experience of also with Zim Praise, was that like your entry point to also like understanding like recording process of music?
So my understanding of like the production side, it actually started before I joined Zim Praise. So I had a friend called Hugh Clyde, the producer at Kalino Records. We grew up together, and he taught me like a lot of things when it came to, you know, the production side of music, recording as a vocalist, and also being on the producer side in the studio. So that's where my understanding of the recording side actually started. It's funny. I used to be crazy about making beats with FL Studio back when I was young. I don't know where that passion went, but it was crazy. I used to make beats. Some of them, I actually listen to them now. I'm like, man,
Oh, you still have
actually
them?
good. Yeah, I have some of them right now. I will. I'll definitely send them your way. Yeah.
So how old were you at that point in time when you?
At that point, I think I was around 20. Yeah, I think I was around 20, 21.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you recently put out a single though. I think about a year or two ago. It's pre-pandemic.
Yes.
So
yes. That was 2019.
When was that time period where you got back into the recording of your music?
Well, being not just a vocalist, but also a songwriter, I had it. I had something that was pushing me like inside. Man, you gotta do something. You gotta do something. You're sitting on this gift that you have, and when I came to the US, I became a part of this group called Closer. I don't know if you've heard about it. So it's an ensemble that we put together with a couple of African guys, Zimbabweans. We also have guys from Rwanda, and also some guys from the US. So with this group, it also gave me an opportunity to use my gift as a songwriter. I wrote this song called "He Paid It All." It's actually, I think it's going to be coming out sometime this year. So when I wrote that song and did it with Closer, it really felt good. It was like, you know, hearing the song come out the way that it was coming out is like seeing your baby take the first step. It's like an overwhelming feeling that I had, and I was like, man, I've got to do something. I have to record a single and just take it out there, because like I've told you, I've been a bass vocalist all my life, so I've never felt comfortable singing anything as a lead. So it was like that moment of bravery. I told myself, you know what, I got to give it a shot. Let me just do this and just send it out. There's definitely people who are gonna like it. I know there's also people who are not, gonna be for it. So I had written this song called Morimwari. It's called Your, it translated, it means your God in English. So this is the song that I released. We're actually working on the video right now, which is going to be coming out, I think, in the next 3 months. It's been great. Even the reception, I was actually amazed, man. I didn't expect that song to be received the way that it was. So it's been quite a journey.
It's a dope song. So for me to hear you say that was your first time, that's your first time releasing a song just solo?
So actually, I had done a couple of songs back in Zimbabwe, but I've never really been confident as a lead vocalist. I've been okay being a backup singer. I've been okay being a backing vocalist, because of my range. I've always just felt that my range was limited. I couldn't go that high, so I was okay as a backing vocalist. So I think I had last recorded a song, I think more than 5 years ago.
Wow.
So all this time I've just been, doing backup stuff, and that's just been it.
And it's really a big thing. Like, all the artists that listening can relate, but for those who don't know that feeling, it's like to really put yourself in a position to say that, this is my art and this is me being vulnerable and open and honest. You're throwing it out to the world for anybody to laugh at it.
Yes.
Art. So
yes. It takes a lot of courage, because what happens is, when it comes to music, what we just need to understand is that music is not for us musicians, it's for the people. So a lot of times we worry about how we look, how we sound, and how the people are going to receive what we're doing. So this why I realized that as musicians, sometimes we end up complicating stuff because we want it to sound fancy and we want it to sound enticing to the people.
Right.
And most of the songs that have really made it to the charts have been like the simplest song. Take, for example, All of Me. That song is like the simplest chords ever.
Yeah.
But it became a hit. The songs that are like so complicated, that have like complicated harmonies, they don't even like make it that far.
Right.
So with music, just keep it simple. That's what I've learned. Just keep it simple. It's for the people. You're not writing for musicians. You're writing for the general, the general public, the general audience that doesn't. Most of them who don't even have a background of music. They don't understand the crazy harmonies that we're going to add to music. Right. They don't understand the crazy minors, So that's what I've just learned. That's why you see that if you listen to that song, I just had to make it simple. And a lot of people can actually relate.
It's amazing you say that, because I was actually listening to a podcast with Pharrell, and that was something that they were talking about, like how things just need to be simple, and like there needs to be enough space for things to just breathe. And to your point, a lot of the times, super complex songs, like the production wise, since I'm a producer, I'm geeking out over it. I'm like, man, this is the greatest song. And then I'm like trying to tell people, like, you hear this, and they're like,
and exactly, you're a musician, right? So when you hear a song that is like complex chords, complex harmonies, you're like, wow, did you hear that? But someone who doesn't understand music, they won't even hear what you're hearing. They're
Yeah.
like, dude, what are you talking about?
Right.
So if you want to sing, if you want to do a song that really make it, man, just make it simple, make it relatable to everybody, not, you know, not just musicians, because our circles, like we live in a circle of musicians.
Yeah.
So the input that we get is basically from a musician standpoint. But we don't take time to, you know, to think or to try and understand what the ordinary person would like to hear or what they hear when we sing.
All right.
Yeah, so just make it simple, man. Simple. I'm one of those people because I have an acapella background. With acapella, it's all about crazy chords. It's about crazy harmonies. It's about throwing all those minor chords in there, you know, trying to make it sound crazy. Yeah. With acapella, it can work, but in the real music world, man, like, you can't do that.
Get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, you'll just have musicians telling you, man, let's go. But everybody else will be like, man, what's that?
Right.
Yeah.
But on that note, I think that's a good way to end this interview. You know, keep it simple. And I really want to say again, I appreciate you coming through and telling your story. And for those who don't know, plug them in on your socials and where to reach you.
Oh, yeah. So my Instagram is at official Trevor Mhariwa. I think you're going to need to throw it somewhere there on the screen because, yeah, it's not really a common name. So at official Trevor Mhariwa, and my YouTube, it's just my name, Trevor Mhariwa. And just look for the single Multi Disciplinary, and I hope you'll be blessed.
And the best of luck too. You got music coming through, and we're going to keep on collaborating. I appreciate it.
Definitely.